Most people are waiting for motivation. They're waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel focused, waiting for the moment when effort feels natural instead of heavy. And when motivation finally appears, they move quickly. They start strong. They feel confident. They feel aligned. But when motivation fades, and it always does, everything begins to slow down. Plans feel harder to return to. Simple actions feel heavier. Progress starts to feel fragile. This isn't a personal failure, it's a structural one. Motivation feels important because it feels internal. It feels like desire. It feels like commitment. It feels like proof that something matters to you. So when motivation is present, progress feels effortless. Decisions are easy. Resistance feels lower. Movement feels natural. But motivation is not a foundation. It's a response. It responds to novelty, to emotion, to excitement, and responses, by definition, are temporary. When motivation disappears, uncertainty replaces it. You begin to question whether this is worth continuing, whether now is the right time, whether you should adjust, pause, or restart. Each step requires a decision, and decisions quietly drain energy, not all at once, gradually, until even small actions feel exhausting. This is why progress doesn't usually end suddenly. It fades. Every time you rely on motivation, you're also relying on willpower. Willpower is expensive. It demands attention. It demands emotional regulation. It demands repeated justification. Over time, that demand creates friction, and friction doesn't stop progress immediately. It slows it until stopping feels inevitable. This is where most people get stuck. Not because they lack discipline, but because they lack structure. A system removes decisions. It decides in advance when something happens, how it happens, what happens next. A system doesn't ask how you feel today. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait for clarity. It simply exists. And that quiet consistency is what allows progress to continue even when energy is low. Systems don't create emotional feedback. There's no surge of excitement, no dramatic commitment, no sense of urgency, so the mind assumes nothing is happening. But repetition doesn't need emotion to work. It only needs time. This is why systems often feel pointless right before they become powerful. Over time, systems reshape identity, not through intensity, through repetition. When something is repeated long enough, it stops feeling optional. It becomes normal. And when progress becomes normal, it no longer depends on motivation. This is the stage most people mistake for discipline. But discipline didn't create the change. Structure did. If you've relied on motivation in the past, that doesn't mean you were wrong. It means motivation was the only tool you were given. But motivation is not a plan. It's a signal, and signals come and go. Systems remain. When you stop treating motivation as a requirement, progress stops feeling fragile. Instead of asking, "How do I stay motivated?" ask something quieter. What continues when motivation disappears? That answer reveals everything. Progress doesn't live in emotional peaks. It lives in what remains after the feeling passes. Motivation can start progress, but systems are what carry it. They don't demand energy. They don't require belief. They don't disappear when things feel slow. They simply remain. And in the long run, what remains is what changes everything.